Hey guys, and welcome back to Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap. We're a Lion Man now. This is a good thing for us, but for me, specifically, it brings back terrible Mega Man cartoon-related memories. Ugh. But we're not here to talk about my crippling phobias and the like. Tell us a little bit about what makes Lion Man vulnerable, mate. We learned of his strengths last time in that he's a big old brute and, he has an arcing swing, which makes it easier to attack enemies, but what are his less desirable traits, shall we say?
Lion Man's undesirable traits isn't so much in he himself, but more the levels he traverses through. They are hard as nails, and the enemies hit probably harder. Of course, when you are the Lion Man and when you are proficient at fighting, the enemies you have to face just have to be equally up to the task. And
yeah.
That they are. If you go in unprepared, you are going to get your ass kicked. I will just tell you that for nothing.
I guess you could say this character got the lion's share of the game's difficulty.
Yes, Tom. Yes, he did. And unfortunately, I have received the hard end of your puns as well this day.
Alright, just to bring it back down to a suitable level. What was the charm in the shop all about? Is it something for the post-game? Because you don't seem to, have access to it right now.
Yep, that is right. We'll need charm stones, which we'll get in the post-game dungeons, which we'll be getting to in the final part of this particular playthrough. So we're going to leave those there for now. Just remember that it exists. But for now, there is one more item that we need to get a hold of in order to complete the game. That is actually in this area that we're going to be coming up to. So, we're going to employ the help of the Mouse Man.
I'm not sure how I feel about having to cycle through all your transformations instead of getting a menu, but that's more of a nitpick than a game-breaking decision, you know?
Well, you say that, but there is something coming up which I believe you'll quite like if you're not particularly fond of that aspect of the game.
Interesting. Well, I best keep watching. I mean, I haven't really got a choice. I'm recording this, so...
Oh, it's not like I'm holding you at gunpoint, but it would be swell if you stuck around.
Don't listen to him, he is. I have no choice.
Well, I have been wanting to do this game for a while, like the 8-bit version specifically, but, with the remake coming out, it created a renewed reasoning for wanting to do so, so... It was more of a case of, Tom, can we do this? Please? No. Please? No. Please? Alright then.
Let us seal the deal with the adding of chocolate to milk.
This is the item that we need in order to beat the game. It is the magical saber, and these little star blocks you see, when you poke them with the sword, it will materialize destructible blocks, which then you can destroy.
So you can make, staircases to higher platforms and with the magical saber?
Yep, that is correct. And in some cases you'll actually need to use it to find a specific block containing a secret door. So we'll get more into that towards the end, as that is one of the things we'll need to do to unlock the final dungeon. But let us focus on the Lion Man as we get through his first trial, which will be the Underground. And this will be somewhat of a more comfortable ease into how things are going to go, where you'll be generally facing a lot more enemies, and you'll be fighting some particularly strong ones too. So they ease you in gently at first with this area, but they don't skimp on the quantity, that's for sure.
It seems like his arcing swing is good for taking out bats and the like, so I guess if you're not comfortable using that, you need practice, I guess you could always use the arrows in a pinch.
Yep, the arrows are there for reasons for the bats and also the Cool Shades clouds that we saw earlier.
The Cool Shades cloud.
Honestly, my favourite enemy in the game.
Yeah, I think you know mine, mate, and he should be coming along soon. I'll point him out. Where is he? Come on.
He's waiting for it. I think it's in the next screen, though, is the thing.
Oh, son of a bitch!
That's all cool, it's all cool. You're close enough. But yeah, the arcing swing does mean that even if an enemy's directly above you, you're not necessarily screwed. As long as you have the necessary force behind your weapon to fell the beast before it falls upon you.
How did that ghost hit you? Because I could have sworn you were facing him head on.
I think I may have turned around for a frame or something like that. It's one of those things where you just have to be really, really careful about how you're moving around. Excessive movement isn't always the best thing to go. Slow and controlled movement is the way to go. Especially if you're planning on going through hard mode, because obviously you don't want to be taking too much unnecessary damage.
Look at this fucking stream of Pikmin enemies coming to take you down.
It's emojis with witch hats.
Oh, Jesus. Aquamarine up in this bitch. There he is, the apathetic skeleton with a hat.
I mean, he's not even that special of an enemy. He's just literally the standard skeleton with a hat on.
Yeah, but that's why I love him.
I guess maybe he's supposed to be like the green tier skeleton without actually having the coloration or something like that, but
yeah,
I couldn't tell you for sure, but, you know, he has a hat. That's all you really need.
You were telling me something about the nurse's quarters in the original game, mate. What was that exactly?
That particular room there is not actually visible at all. Like, there's no clues or anything that there's even a nurse office in that area, but luckily in the remake they give you some nice signage to kind of show you, there used to be a nurse's office there, maybe there still is one. Try pressing up in this space of thin air and see what happens.
Oh man, I'm not sure how to feel about having to feel your way to secrets. I kind of like a little bit of a heads up, like again going back to Shovel Knight, when there's secret areas they will usually have a little bit of signage like a skull in the wall or something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's part of the whimsy of the original, you know. Actually taking time to go around. I mean, there are some tells even in the original, like whether it's something like a suspicious dead end or maybe a suspicious precise 2-block platform or something that might have a door there or something. It's little things like that, but that nurse's office in particular is probably the most conspicuous, which I think is the reason why the remake gave that little tell there, just to make it a little bit easier. You know how we were talking about earlier about the whole switching animals thing in a special menu?
Oh yeah.
This is going to be the sword that fixes that problem.
Ooh.
The Tasmanian sword. And this is probably one of the most interesting items in the game, because if you hold up and attack, you will actually change into the beast form similar as you would in that room.
Oh.
But it's actually even better in the Master System version, because in the Master System version, that item was utterly broken. Because not only did it allow you to transform into various beast forms on the fly, it also allowed you to change into beast forms you hadn't unlocked yet.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And do you know what else? That also includes the human. So you can actually turn back into human form at that point in the Master System version.
Wow, I don't want to be just a human anymore. Fuck, you know, fixing the curse. I want this sword that lets me turn into every beast warrior imaginable.
The sword in the Master System version is one of the most interesting items. Not only just because, obviously, you can change to the forms you hadn't even unlocked yet, which creates opportunities for speedrunners and such like that, and also just turning into the human and just beast moding everything. But the way, obviously you know the Master System controller, it has 2 buttons. You got your D-pad, you got your button 1, and you got your button 2.
Right.
In order to actually use the Tasmanian sword in the Master System version, you had to plug in a second controller, put an up and jump on the second controller to change into the different forms.
Right.
It was incredibly strange, but I suppose it added that extra sense of whimsy and secrecy about the weapon. A sword with laden power just waiting to be unlocked.
Oh, I think you're just waxing poetically about really bizarre development decisions, honestly.
I don't know, maybe I'm showing a little bit of bias there, but you know, I love this game dearly, so I can't help it.
I'll allow you to be a fanboy just this once.
But yeah, the sword was really, really weird in the Master System version, whether you think it's clever use of trying to add some smoke and mirrors, or whether it's just a case of, well, we're just going to be really obscure about it and hope no one finds out.
Oh man, ninjas in a Master System game. I'm getting Shinobi flashbacks.
Ah yes. I actually remember very briefly playing the Master System version of Shinobi.
It's hard as balls, mate. Hard as balls.
It really was. And I ended up playing Revenge of Shinobi as well, which was the Mega Drive game. The one that was surrounded in many controversies, including a boss battle that features both Batman and Spider-Man.
Yes, yeah, I think that was in the Master System one as well.
I don't seem to remember it, but I don't know enough about it to refute it, so I'll just leave that to the comments to correct us.
I can say anything as long as you don't have access to Wikipedia right now.
True that, true that. Into the dojo we go. Of course, I like to check for secret areas as well, because after finding the secret area that I didn't even know existed until like a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't leaving anything to chance. I thought, I'm expecting to add something here as well, but I never found it.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. Oh, this music.
This is where the Japanese theme of the music comes in. They actually borrow a lot of different musical... I'm not sure if like themes or tropes is the right word to use, but obviously they use like tango style, classical, Middle Eastern, and in this case Japanese. So they borrowed a lot of different musical styles for when they reimagined the original soundtrack.
Surprised those birds don't come out of the background to attack you. Are they just like there for, I don't know, visual flavour?
Yeah, they are. Just to add a little bit more colour to the area that you're fighting in.
Okay.
But yeah, you may notice the enemies are hitting significantly harder. We even went through the effort to pick up a shield specifically for Lion Man.
Well, you know, it would help if you didn't run straight into enemies or let them land on you, mate, to be fair.
A lot of those collision things were actually to do with the boomerang, because you may notice the boomerang actually drags them back into you.
Oh.
And occasionally in the heat of the moment, I forget that they actually pull the enemies back towards you occasionally, so... It was mostly a case of forgetting that and then just running into the enemy purely by accident.
I've got to remember that not everyone has my OCD when it comes to doing retakes and whatnot. Get hit once, do the whole 5-hour recording process all over again.
That was the bottle in action there.
Yeah, second time we've seen it, mate.
I think it's the only other time I actually end up with that happening apart from the final boss, so...
Oh, that's forgivable if it's the final fucking boss.
I was also trying to fight the final boss legitimately, but we'll get into that one in the next part, because obviously that'll be a talking point for them. But for now, we must continue fighting our way through the various samurai and ninjas, who have somehow put aside their differences in order to protect this humble building that they are dwelling in.
Let's see, we've seen a mummy, we've seen a zombie, we've seen a pirate, so are we going to see a ninja or a samurai dragon here?
Well, we'll find out in just a second. It is, in fact, a samurai slash shogun.
Gotta get back to the past, Dino Dragon.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
Well, you know, the finale was recently, so there you go. Don't worry, I'm not gonna utter spoilers and whatnot.
Now, this boss is actually pretty tricky, because obviously he hits pretty hard if you're not properly equipped. But also, he has invincibility frames as well, so you kind of gotta go about your attacks a little bit differently, so you gotta try and find your right opportunities to swing at him. So, in my case, my means of doing so was to use the boomerang to kind of get the ball rolling, and then give him a trusty smack or two with my sword, and then that is the end of Dino Dragon, and now we're just doing what we can to pick up as much spoils as we can before this dastardly sprite turns us into...
Oh, there's only one left, I guess.
Yep, the Hawkman.
Yep, I'm a bird now. Deal with it.
I'm a bird, motherfucker! I'm a bird!
Alright, strengths, weaknesses, mate.
Alright, so, Hawkman has the ability to fly, which gives him unprecedented ability to trace the skies for all kinds of secret treasure, or just cheating the hell out of various dungeons and hub worlds so you don't have to actually fight anything. As far as weaknesses go, he's not as strong as some of the other forms. Like, I think he's weaker than Piranha and Lion Man, perhaps. And defensively, he's not that strong either, so he's a little bit frailer than most of the other beast forms that we've had so far, so you have to be a bit careful when using him.
Yeah, seems a bit more like Mouse Man. He's more of a mobility fighter than anything.
Exactly. And I don't pick it up here, but the Hades armor is... It acts like a medicine bottle, but it consumes the armor after you take enough damage.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good way to carry around an extra medicine bottle, basically. But there we go. We shall get to Hawkman and indeed the final dungeon in part 5, so tune in then.
Bye-bye.